Victims should know that whether or not they decide to report or not, there are health-related as well as support services to assist them in dealing with the incident. Firstly, it's important for people to understand what is meant when we say sexualized assault. Sexualized assault is any physical, non-consensual sexual contact, any touching in a sexual way without permission, forced kissing or fondling, and forced oral, anal, or vaginal penetration. Additionally, it's important to understand consent. Consent is ongoing, voluntary agreement to engage in sexual activities. Consent is not present if you're sleeping, intoxicated, coerced, coaxed, pressured, intimidated, or threatened. Consent is not present where someone is in a position of power over you. Examples would be a teacher, a coach, a family member, an employer, a drug dealer, landlord, pimp, religious or spiritual leader. It's important for any victim of sexualized assault to know the assailant is 100% responsible for a sexualized assault.
The main service that we offer for clients who have been victims is nursing support, and we also have counseling support as well. So seeking support in general is really important for victims for a number of reasons. There is the medical side, but most importantly is the emotional support after having been a victim. So it's important to make contact with somebody to talk about the assault, whether that's professional or within your social or peer group. So it's important if you've been a victim of sexualized assault to seek some healthcare support afterwards, not just to check for any injuries you may not be aware of. You also want to address any sexually transmitted infection concerns, pregnancy concerns for female victims. So a rape kit is also known as a forensic evidence collection kit. There'd be some time spent in the beginning to go over the assault itself. So basically getting the victim's story to find out what happened. Those details are taken down in notes and are reviewed with the victim to make sure that we've captured their experience accurately. And then we move into the physical exam. We're looking for injuries, we're looking for forensic evidence. Sometimes we might take pictures of bruises or bite marks, cuts, scrapes, things like that. The evidence is collected and sealed into tamper-proof containers and put into a whole box which is sealed up. We always remind clients at the beginning that they are in charge. This is their story, this is their experience, and so they get to guide both what they tell us, how long it takes, if they need breaks, and what parts of the exam they want to consent to.
When somebody presents to the hospital, it is the same process for going to be seen in emergency. So most of the time you see the admitting and discharge clerk first and would have registration and paperwork, and then present to emergency, where a triage nurse would work through what happened and at which point there's involvement of the doctor, and you get a private room where you'll be assessed thoroughly and involvement of the right services that are needed at the time.
A lot of victims choose not to report for a variety of very good reasons, and we want to make sure that people feel they can come and get the support they need, both medically and emotionally, and take the time to decide if it's right for them to report. So the Kits on Ice program offers them an opportunity for WGH, it's 6 months, for us it's a year, to take some time and think about whether or not that's the right decision, and to also make sure that they've got things in place before reporting if they choose to do so. The kit stays sealed, and victims can come back at any time and decide within that 1 year period for the health centre whether or not they want to involve the RCMP. They can also come back and tell us that they do not want to report and they want the kit destroyed, and we will do that for them as well.
In regards to the questions asked when taking a statement, we're not placing blame, we're not judging you, we just need to collect all of the evidence and all of the details that we can in order to complete a thorough investigation. They can be quite lengthy, the investigation themselves, and as well from the time it starts to the time it's done and through the courts can take quite a bit of time. When you make a report to the RCMP, you can request a male or a female officer or a bilingual member, English or French, to speak with. The RCMP will do their very best to accommodate that request, and it'll depend on the staffing situation at the time.
Third-party reporting is an option for victims of sexualized assault who are 19 and older, who've made the informed decision not to report to RCMP. But they would still like to get information about the assault to RCMP without their contact information being disclosed. If you wanted to make a third-party report, you would either come to Kayoshi's place or call our crisis line, and one of the transition home workers would work with you on the report. They would keep your contact information here, Kayoshi's place, and the report about what happened would go to RCMP. It's important because RCMP can track patterns of sexualized assault and maybe track serial offenders.
I know from my experience supporting victims of sexualized assault that the most important thing is coming in early and making sure you have your story heard and you are believed. Coming in and having your story told in a confidential setting can be very therapeutic, regardless of whether or not you get a kit done or you choose to involve RCMP.